Archaon appreciates having another excellent regiment of renown to add to his arsenal. The Pleasure Guard here, going to be the feature unit for me, at least, for today, as I take Warriors of Chaos once again, this time into the Beastmen. And let's see here, yeah, we've got the Pleasure Guard plus the Severed Claw. I would have taken the Wrathmonger's ROR, except they're not available to Warriors of Chaos in standard multiplayer. I actually don't know. Can Archaon get them in his campaign? I haven't checked. I probably should have checked. Anyway, we've also got some Forbidden Marauder Bearmen here for me, and some regular Marauders as well. Nurgle represented by their elite. We don't have, what are they, the Light Kings? The, like, Nurgle elite infantry, super elite infantry. So the best thing we've got is the Rotting Riders. They're going to be my one cavalry piece here. I say one cavalry piece. I've got two light cavalry as well, the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne with throwing axes and with great melee stats. They're going to be an excellent tool. They're representatives of the Blood God here, and that's basically my whole build. As for my opponent, he's got Malagor the Dark Omen, Jabberslythe, and the Bloodshriek Chimera currently on the ground. A couple of Minotaur's Great Weapons, front line of Slangors, some Ungor Spears to support, and yeah, let's get things rolling. Finally can show you guys the champions up close. The previous videos I had recorded with them, they were bugged, but now they are mostly working. Yeah, it's gonna slither on through the battlefield super fast, charge in first before anyone else can get there. They do not want to wait to engage themselves. The Minotaur's Great Weapons, of course, have bonus versus large, which will confusingly work against these very small entities. They're like literally... I'll never get over them being classed as large, just from how small they are. But anyway, Severed Claw are going to get in there eventually, provide some nice anti-large, heavy presence. Archaon himself, of course, as well. You saw that burning head rip through. Chimera charges on the flank, and we see an overcast Flock of Doom from Malagor in the front line. Marauder Horsemen also going to throw up. Yes, pull up and throw up their axes all over this disgusting beast, Jabberslythe. And, yeah, a couple of you had commented, it's very nice that the Beastmen get so many monsters, and they do. Beastmen have gotten so much love from all the DLCs, you know, between Incarnate of Elemental Beasts. You know, they get two new flying monsters, both the Praeton and the Chimera here. They got the Cockatrice before. I mean, just so many monsters. Yeah, their monster section is absolutely amazing now. Just absolutely beautiful as we get a nice cinematic view of the entire battle. The Rotting Rider is going to counteract the Jabberslythe as he charges after the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne there. The Rotting Riders with their anti-large going to pull up and try and engage, try and pin him down. Right now he's getting away pretty well. The Bloodshriek Chimera comes through, and in the infantry fight, Archaon and the elites are going to be fighting just fine. Actually, I think the Pleasure Guard have taken quite a bit of damage, but they're unbreakable, and they should be able to still survive somewhat. A little Flock of Doom there, and what else? Yeah, the Minotaur's Great Weapons trying to get a charge. Looks like they did get a charge into the Rotting Riders. They're going to get broken. Yeah, the flaming damage of the Chimera, of course, being boosted by their regeneration trait. One thing about Chimera is that poison and magic flaming damage. 500 weapon strength plus. It's just, it's so good, to be honest. So good. Will it be enough to save the Jabberslythe, though? Right now, he is quite low, but staying alive. Doing a nice job doing anti-infantry damage to the Marauders here. Chimera flying in the back line there as the Marauder Horsemen going to grab their dual axes, run in melee here, try and intercept and break these very tattered Slangors. The breath attack there hits the middle of the Bearmen, does some pretty solid damage. Severed Claw holding out beautifully. Champs also have been able to... Oh, those are just Marauders, getting like 200 value. Pleasure Guard, here we go. Yeah, 1,000 damage value already. They definitely have taken a lot more damage than I would have hoped at this point in the battlefield. But hey, they're unbreakable. They're going to keep fighting. 67 melee defense as well. As the Beastmen units tire out, they should be more and more safe as their attack goes down. Marauder Horsemen, still a decent amount of ammunition left. I'm going to try and get them in a position to throw at the appropriate targets. The Beastmen numbers are starting to come through against my smaller build. The Bearmen have held out admirably, but they are outmatched by Slangors pretty pretty consistently. The Slangor's anti-infantry damage is too much for them. So they inevitably will be dragged down. Severed Claw and Archaon stand unopposed. Archaon specifically very beefy here. Slayer of Kings up to 800 weapon strength. Gonna get a rear charge in. Little Searing Doom also. Might have even got some hits on the Jabberslite there, but it looks like Jabberslite trying to finish off the last few models of the Pleasure Guard as they also fight. Even weakened as they are, they can still, because their stats kind of break units here. Unyielding Assault means their melee attack doesn't go down as they tire. So yeah, you can see the three of them just absolutely dashing across the field, engaging, disrupting, you know, slaughtering, having a grand old time against these Ungor Raiders here, helping to keep them from getting set and shooting too much. The Severed Claw also following up a little more slowly. But let's see here, against these low-tier spears, the Ungor Spearmen Herd, of course, with their bonus versus large, will actually be able to deal a little bit of damage to the Pleasure Guard, perhaps. I'm going to keep their health bar up as I call in a Searing Doom over on the far side here. Once again, trying to get those Ungor Raiders. Not going to be enough. Archaon versus the Chimera now. Archaon's fought many such chaos beasts in his time, no doubt, but yeah, Chimera is definitely a new and beautiful one. Severed Claw going to come help, make sure their Lord doesn't get too taken out, and then these three Pleasure Guard, just the fact that they're still alive and, you know, making a small impact, whatever they can do. Running around Archaon, just making sure they stay seen. Another Flock of Doom here, though. Will it be enough to finish them off? Nope. Three models still alive. Now partnering up with those Marauder Horsemen. All that anti-infantry damage. These weirdly green Ungors won't be able to take it. But the Chimera does charge in. Ooh, looks like he finishes one champ there, maybe. The other two are still here. Whirling Blades. Will they actually survive the battle? That's all I want to see, really, at this point. A little bit of Searing Doom there also. Maybe friendly fired the Severed Claw somewhat, but yeah, I mean, they end up getting over 230 kills, even though the gold value is not that much. Still, like 15,000 damage dealt. Certainly, you know, tactically, you got to carve through the chaff with something. So, since I've been using my magic on not burning head... Oh, was that it? Was that the last one? I think that was the last one. Just got nommed by the Chimera. At least they all sacrificed themselves very nobly, of course. Anyway, yeah. Archaon holding out here. Slayer of Kings active once more, but the Chimera will be able to get back up in the air. I think my opponent has already used his heal. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would show, like, the healing cap usage like they did in previous Total Wars. It's maybe the only UI, like, downgrade that we've had over time. But anyway, yeah, Archaon just going to finish off his duel with the Chimera. As Severed Claw also tangle with Malagor here. We've got some Bearmen and the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne. They've also been MVPs, definitely, for my build. We'll have to see their value after the fact, but using their axes to very good effect, and then their melee prowess has also been a key component in taking out a lot of this chaff. And the game actually crashed while we were playing the battle, so it's going to show as a victory for the Beastmen here, but I was definitely in the cleanup end phase there, as it was pretty much just Malagor left versus Archaon. Himself, 26,000 damage dealt, 2,500 gold value. Obviously, Archaon's a very strong and powerful character, and it's nice to have strong and powerful units to take alongside him. Yeah, ultimately, the Pleasure Guard there ended up with just about 2,000 gold value, 15,000 damage dealt. Didn't pay for themselves, but hey, it's fun to have them, and they definitely were tactically nice. The Marauder Horsemen of Khorne, of course, talked about them, 1,000 damage value, 1,300 there. Severed Claw also 10,000 damage dealt, 1,275. And, you know, being super healthy at the late in the game, I should say, also helps carry the victory. Rot Knights had a pretty tough time. Credit to my opponent here. He had Minotaurs getting some very, very good value. Jabberslith also manages to hang on to the end, although definitely has a little bit of a tough time. The Slangors trade pretty well. I brought some more expensive infantry for them to chew on, and the Bearmen, they trade well into a lot of infantry, but like dedicated, you know, anti-infantry, like damage specialists like the Slangors will definitely carve them up. And yeah, Malagorn himself getting some respectable value for how cheap he is, of course. I don't know, have the Beastmen actually won a game that I've showed in early access? I don't know, but anyway, they will benefit from getting the new stuff, no doubt. Yeah, but the Pleasure Guard, the Champions of Slaanesh, pretty squishy, as you saw there. They can definitely just die in some circumstances. Of course, if you're taking them on Warriors of Chaos, you do have the option to go with Lore of Nurgle. 1950 versus 1750 for the non-ROR. The ROR also gets, you know, additional weapon strength, sides unbreakable, and unyielding assault for only 200 points. That's probably one of the best ROR upgrades in the game, to be honest, for what you get for so little gold. You know, even this thing on max chevrons is going to be, yeah, way more expensive than the Regiment of Renown, so you're getting some really good value with that upgrade. And of course, like I said, you could potentially combo this, like, if you really wanted to be disgusting, you could go like Festus, you know, with his AoE heal, and he also has the active heal as well. Fleshy Abundance can provide the Mortis effect as well. You know, these guys all stacked together would also be a pretty nasty combination. This Slaughter God, I guess I could have brought them. They are technically just chosen, but, you know, I was trying to stick to different low model count theme, and then I was like, you know what, I actually need Marauder Horsemen. Might as well go with Marauder Horsemen of Khorne. But anyway, yeah, the Pleasure Guard have some pretty decent synergy here on the Warriors of Chaos roster. How much will they actually be used? Hard to say. They are pretty expensive, but I have seen them do very well in other matchups. I want to test them more also against some, like, Dwarfs or Cathay, some other kind of dedicated armored infantry matchups where you might see a lot more armored infantry, even though Slaanesh has plenty of tools for dealing with them. If these guys counted as infantry size, it would actually make them much better, I think, because then you could bypass anti-large and just carve up, you know, halberd units. Maybe it's good from a balance perspective that they don't count as infantry, but yeah, I mean, even still, with 67 melee defense, unyielding assault, they've got 20% physical resistance, being demonic. They do have missile block chance as well, nothing too crazy, 40%, it's pretty good. But yeah, that plus 25 bonus versus infantry means they're hitting for, you know, 89 melee attack, even without their charge bonus. Of course, have devastating flanker as well, and 65 speed. So, yeah, I mean, I've had them fighting skin wolves, as you saw in previous battles. I've definitely had them terrorizing my own units as well. So, definitely seems interesting. Their HP is pretty low for something of this cost, and with no ability to heal them on Slaanesh's roster, at least. Makes them a little bit tough. Like, how do they compare Fiends and Pleasure Seekers? So out of these sort of elite low model count units, I would definitely say Pleasure Seekers are the best. The Champions of Slaanesh are good, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to be as consistently as amazing as the Pleasure Seekers, and even still, I think in a lot of situations where you might take them, it might be more cost effective to take the Fiends. Other than the ROR, just because the ROR has so much extra benefits that it's incredibly hard to kill, and they'll fight to the bitter end, as you saw there, and still be dealing damage even at very low model counts. So even if they take damage early in the initial phase of the battle, they can still definitely pay for themselves. But curious to see what you guys think now that you've been able to watch a bunch of battles from different content creators. What are your thoughts on the Champions of Slaanesh? Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. It's been my pleasure, absolutely pun intended, to bring you these battles, and we will continue to do so. So be sure to stay tuned. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.